Lauren Larkin with Mermaid Media. I'm back with some more tips and tricks with how to strategize your colors. I'm working on another project and I am trying to figure out how I'm going to lay these colors down. So here I have my next commission I'm working on. This is their logo, and I had edited this picture to fit the color scheme of their interior decorating a little bit more. So I replaced the red with kind of you can't really see it. It looks green, but it's actually like a nice turquoise teal color. Anyway, so I've had to think a lot about this. So the colors, this is pure white right here. But if we look very closely at some of these edges, they're pink and orange and yellow. And so how am I going to do all my masking is the question. What I'm gonna do first is on my 18 by 24 watercolor, I'm gonna lay down my masking for my letters. And over here, I have the letters that I'm carving out on with some painter's tape on the back of a cookie sheet. This helps me get my letters super crisp. So we're going to take that, put it on the white paper, and then over here, after I've got the letters down, I'm going to go in and, creatively put in the kind of coral, pinkish coral and yellow colored background. And I can go all over the masked letters. Then what I'm gonna do is on these edges, because they're pink and yellow, might be kind of hard to see, or like right here, I'm gonna go in with my Fineline masking fluid and draw in the edges of these leaves. I guess we'll just see how this goes. As you can see, I'm going in and trying not to get under my light here. I have to be very careful to get my line straight. Circles and curves are gonna be the most challenging, but you can kind of shape it with your nail, with your fingernails to get it more smooth once it's on the paper. Another tip is when you're taking the letters off, I would suggest removing the tape that's around the letters first, because otherwise it gets kind of tricky. You might tear your letter. But even if you do tear a little bit, the wonderful, beautiful thing about painter's tape is it's so flexible. You can probably just put it back together like a puzzle piece. Okay, so like so. All right, after a lot of tedious work, we have now masked our letters and our logo. Y'all, the thing is when you use an X-Acto knife to do these letters, at least on my end, it's not gonna be perfect. It's this kind of technique might kind of be a OCD person's nightmare, but if you can just embrace the notion that watercolor, it's not perfect. It's really, I only know a few artists who just can get those straight lines, but at a distance, it looks pretty dang good. So I'm gonna stop right here. Okay, so I have my beautiful, clean masking letters. Now, a tip that I can give you is you might want to use a rolling pin, but I couldn't find one, so I have a long lucky candle here. So you're gonna just push it in as hard as you can, because if you don't, you might accidentally get some buckling, which in that case, if you do get, a little ink in the white areas or a little paint in the white areas, you can probably go in and touch it up with some gouache, or, you know, use your creative solutions in your own mind. But I try to avoid that as much as possible by just really pushing in the letters. Like, it's not going to hurt the paper. You just don't want to have paint all over your candle or some kind of substance that might come off onto your painting. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. All right, so with my hacky brush, I'm going to get it wet and just kind of go over. Oh crap, there was paint on that. Oh well. So go over, I'm just gonna go over and fill in, just casually fill in some areas. Doesn't have to be perfect. I have several hacky brushes. This is a version of one as well. I love these. But they do collect fuzz, so hopefully you've got a studio unlike me where I'm working around kids and animals all day. All right. So in the areas, in the corners, I'm gonna just do a bigger wash because those are gonna be the areas that have the solid color. Although it doesn't really matter. Your watercolor is gonna turn out however it wants to turn out. So just remember that. All right, so I'm done laying down my colors. So I got my wash kind of just sporadically splattered in all kinds of ways. Although using this as a guide, so, you know, I have my main areas, but then I kind of just decided to freestyle it all in between because eventually all this is going to get painted over. This is literally just the lighter shades of the painting and yeah, the first footsteps basically. I used my dagger brush, I used my round brush, and I used like my super jumbo large round, and just kind of went to town. You're probably wondering, why am I not using masking fluid for the entire logo? It might be a little easier and quicker to apply. That is true. However, I've done, I don't know, 20 of these projects with letters and logos, and I'm just finding that the masking fluid, when it dries, it looks good when you apply it, but then when it dries, the edges get all kind of crooked, kind of bubbled, sort of. It's just not a perfect line. Now, I did use it on my last commission, which had a tree, and I had to mask out the tree, and this worked fabulous. So yes, it has a purpose. So here I am going in and filling in all the areas. I truly believe that art should be a colorful and creative expression of the thing it is you're trying to paint. That's not for everybody. Just so happens that my style is incredibly colorful. Okay, so I'm at ugly stage 1 with the painting. So you'll find that, you know, your painting has stages until the very end. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of pre-wetting the paper and then going in with my brightest colors and layering areas, the lighter areas of the leaf, and then I'm going in and, you know, outlining and darker with the darker areas, just kind of following my photo as a guide. Pre-wetting is a pretty common technique with watercolor. It really helps carry my colors. And I also am painting on a slant. So my board is actually a few degrees above 90. And that is helping kind of carry the color with my water. So now I'm going in and just adding details with my metallic watercolors. I also removed a whole lot of my masking fluid splatters. So basically I took a toothbrush and did a bunch of splattering. It is kind of tedious to remove it all because you have to make sure you have every single tiny little masking dot, removed. It really helps bring texture to the leaves. And now I'm removing the masking tape. This is always my favorite part because it's like the big reveal of the painting once it's done. I did have to touch it up a little bit here and there, but it's really hard to avoid those little imperfections. But overall, I'm so happy with how this turned out. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial video, and maybe this will give you some new ideas for commissions in your future. All right, y'all, paint wild and take chances.